Hello and welcome in everyone to the official start of the Harry Potter 2 PC Bingo Tournament 2024. And we had a couple of those tournaments in the past years and they've always been pretty successful and people like them, so I'm very happy that we're back for the 2024 edition. And like every year, we start with the group stage draw, just so we know who plays against whom, who's in which group, and of course, ultimately, who's gonna win the tournament. I believe I said most important information about this entire tournament during the draw, so I won't talk too much longer. The only things that I haven't mentioned is that the tournament actually starts this week's Friday on my Twitch channel. Friday, not Saturday, it's very important, it's a long tournament weekend. Then it continues the week after, and the final day is the 7th to 8th of December. That's when the grand final is gonna happen. On top of that, I'm gonna link every single participant and contester in the video description, of course, alongside a link to the bracket and the group stages, which will be spoilers, so I wouldn't recommend checking them out until you've watched this video. There's also going to be some changes to the bingo goals and the client this year. I've already made a video about that, so I'll link it in the top here right now. So if you're curious about what's new and what changed, I recommend clicking on that and watching through it. But I think for now, that's enough talking, and I hope you're gonna have some fun with the introduction of our bingo participants this year, and of course, with the group stage draw. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you're as excited as I am, and have fun. Hello everyone, we are here for the bingo draw. It's finally time to find out what groups we're gonna have for this year's tournament and who has to play whom in this exciting bingo tournament. I don't know, I didn't find another word for tournament. I'm very curious about this. Of course, I'll go into details about like how the draw is gonna work, how we got to this point and everything in a second. I think I should probably very quickly tell everyone the rules of the draw today, and also again how we got to this point, because a couple of bingo matches have already been played prior to this point. They just weren't televised, so to speak. They were all offline matches, just to get a grasp of how good people are at bingo and have an average time, so we can now seed everyone into their groups. So let's go over the rules for this day's event very quickly. So let me quickly break down how the group stage draw is gonna work today. Preceding this event, the contestants have already played a series of offline seeding matches in a triple bingo format to determine their average skill level at bingo. According to that skill level, they now got sorted into 4 different pots, which we will take a look at in a second. Pot 1 including the 4 fastest runners in the seeding, Pot 2 includes number 5 to 8, and so on and so on. And now we're gonna be drawing 1 runner out of each pot into a group. So at the end of the day, every group has a respective runner from Pot 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. We are having a bit of a special situation though, because we have 21 contestants. So the person placing last in the seeding matches, which is Skillet, will be automatically seeded into Group A. And thus it will also be the group with 1 extra player and 1 extra match for every contestant. And that's all there is to know. So let's take a look at the groups. So, as you've seen in this little preview already, we only have 1 person who is gonna be set in Group A, which is also the group that is gonna have 6 instead of 5 runners, which does mean 5 more matches, 1 additional match for everyone, basically. So yeah, there we are. That's our 1 person that will be seated already before the start of it. But now we can get into the actual seeding, into the actual fun stuff. We can get into Pot 1, which is the 4 people that had the fastest times during the seedings on average. And I'll give you a very quick introduction on who they are really, or well, not really. I'll just show you the pot, because we have it right here. That's our 4 fastest runners, representing their countries, of course. We have Beaver, the 3 times defending champion, coming in again at number 1 of the seeding. Then we have Handels, newcomer for this year, coming in number 2. Portal, another Bingo veteran in seed number 3. And then this Nixxo guy is in seed number 4. I don't know how he did it either, to be completely honest. But out of those 4 people, we now get to draw our very first, contestant that will join Skillet in Group A. So whoever gets decided on this gets an additional match as well. So I guess I won't talk much further. Let's go. Yeah, who's it gonna be? Maybe I put the wheel on a bit too long. It's a very long wheel, I have to admit, but I guess that gives us suspension at least. And it looks like it's gonna be Handels who will be joining Skillet in Group A, and with that also gets, well, an additional match. As I said before, you know, he's a first-time participant in any, not in any HP2 tournament, but in the Bingo tournament, and already in 2nd seeding place, which is pretty dang impressive. Also participated in the Warpless tournament this year, got into 9th place there, so definitely a very strong contender. I didn't show the groups. There we go, kind of as expected. Nothing really crazy here. So I guess we can continue with the next person that is gonna be the group header of Group B. The beginning groups obviously are not really that important yet. It doesn't really matter if you're an A, B, C, or D. But once we get to the 2nd round into pot 2, that's when it's gonna be definitely very interesting. And it looks like it is gonna be our seed 1 coming into Group B and leading Group B, which is Beaver. And it's gonna take a while to actually talk about all of his accomplishments, because there is many across the years, both in HP speedrunning and also in Bingo speedrunning specifically. As I said, 3 times winner of this tournament, so he's gonna be the defending champion once again. We'll see if this year someone can beat him. Also has a ton of world records in this game, 2nd in the Glitchless tournament 2022, and long year veteran. Go back and spin the wheel. We have 2 more people for Group C and Group D. It's either gonna be Portal or... So I guess we'll see who's gonna be in Group C. Unintentional pun there. And it looks like it's gonna be Portal. Interesting. Group C in the 3rd group. So that actually kind of works. We're gonna spin for Group D as well, yeah, just in case. But of course, this puts Portal in Group C, and then it's gonna put this Nixxo guy in Group D, which is gonna be, well, interesting. Depends on who's in, of course. And, Portal also, as I mentioned, long-time HP2 veteran at this point, since 2022, with a pretty good track record in Bingo. Never got to the semifinals, I believe. I might be wrong with that, but I don't think so. But always had pretty dang good matches during the tournament. Won Glitchless B in 22, got 3rd in the actual Glitchless tournament in 24. So, yeah, absolutely pretty strong. And, well, we'll spin the wheel because, well, for, you know, just so we make sure the draw isn't rigged or something, we have to see who is gonna be in Group D, the last remaining group. The spinning sun, the giant yellow thing. And guess what? It is this Nixxo guy. Imagine it would have not landed on me. That would have been impressive. But it is indeed this Nixxo guy. So we can take a look at him as well. Of course, whoever that may be, I'll make it very quick because I don't think anyone really cares. But, you know, I've played HP2 before. It's been a couple of years. I've played some Bingo, I've played some tournaments. Never really won anything. Probably not gonna change this year, but I guess we'll see. Yeah, at least it's an even win-lose ratio, so I guess it could be worse. And with that, we now have our groups actually assembled. Again, not too much of a surprise. We have moi in Group D, Portal in Group C, Beaver in Group B, and then Handels and Skillet in Group A. So with that in mind, now we can get into the actually interesting part, because we have people from pot 2, so position 5 to 8 in the seeding, which is another very strong pot, to be honest. So you don't really want either of them in your group because they're all very, very, very good. And we have Pekine, another bingo newcomer, in in position number 5, seed number 5. We have Kaz, who wanted to play a couple of bingo tournaments, but is also actually here for the first time now, I believe, if I'm not completely mistaken, during a bingo tournament. Samod, same thing, also first time bingo player. So 3 people that are just new to bingo, and then Imek, who is a bit more of a veteran of many tournaments and of many bingo tournaments. And honestly, they're all actually gonna be very difficult opponents. So I am curious what the wheel's gonna decide. But I guess we kick it off. We spin the wheel and we check who joins Handels and Skillet in Group A. Let's go. I am very, very curious. It's like, again, either of those 4 is gonna be an exciting match with Handels, I feel like. But obviously you don't necessarily want to go to C2 because second strongest player in the tournament on paper, and it looks like it's gonna be Kaz, which I don't think he's here right now, so we won't know if he's happy with that or not. But I think that's gonna make for a pretty exciting match with Handels and with Skillet as well, of course. So we have our Dr. Cheese in seat 6, of course, after the seeding, now joining the fray. And, well, he's been doing HP runs for a good while now as well, since 2022, and he got second in the Chungus tournament in 2022, so no stranger to tournaments and to tournament pressure. Yeah, we got C2 and C6, so the second from each pot so far in the same group. It's gonna be very exciting to see where this is gonna go. I'm very curious how Kaz is gonna perform in his first bingo tournament appearance. We continue spinning the wheel, going for pot B, which is the scary pot, because it has beaver. So, well, whoever of the 3 goes into that, I already want to wish them good luck. But unfortunately, someone has to. It could be the Canadian double group. That would be pretty exciting with Samot and Beaver in the same group. And it looks like... oh god, it's gonna be seed 1 and seed 6 in the same group. And that is... and that is already a group of death forming there, I think is fair to say. That is a bit rough, but the good thing, in case people were not aware yet, the first 3 of every group actually make it to the knockouts. So, 3 out of 5, you don't have to win against everyone. The chances of going through no matter who you're playing isn't actually that low, or isn't that low. Anyways, we can take a look at Pekine as well, who has some pretty impressive track records already, even though he hasn't been in all that many tournaments quite yet. But obviously new to bingo, instantly with a great seed and an absolutely amazing average time. And of course, people might remember earlier this year winning the Glitchless B tournament by a large margin, I think is fair to say. So, I expect some great things. We'll see what happens. But let's see. We have Group C first, which is Portal's group. So let's see who he has to face in, well, the first person he has to face at least. One of the many, of course, since the groups are big. And it looks like it's going to be Samot, which is interesting. That's gonna be an exciting battle as well with Portal, which means that's interesting. It's literally the first seed got the 5th seed, second seed got 6th seed, third seed got, what now, 7th seed, and then 4th seed got 8th seed, which is very interesting. RNG is definitely quite something there. Which is also interesting, by the way, because that means Imek is gonna be in my group, which is, I believe, the same as it was last year at the very least. But first, let's take a look at Samut, who is, I would say, relatively new to the scene. I don't think that's wrong to say, but already popping off with some very impressive bingo tournament preparation, some very, very nice average times as well. and a really good seeding to support that claim. So I'm very curious what he can do in this year's tournament, and you know, if he can maybe take some nice wins and some nice underdog stories back home. Let's spin the wheel one last time to determine who comes into my group. I wonder, it really could be anyone. Is it gonna be iMake or is it gonna be someone else? We'll see. But yeah, as I said, very interesting. Had the same thing last year already, I'm pretty sure, with me and iMake in the same group, or iMake and me, sorry. So last time he beat me. So let's see what the rematch is gonna say. But first, before we take another small look at the groups, let's take a look at iMake, who is a very accomplished Harry Potter 2 PC player, who's done a lot of runs since 2001, who has actually a really good track record in bingo tournaments. 7 and 4 is not easy to achieve at all. And also one of the big Chungus grinders. Oh, 2021, not 2001, if I said that. That would be before the game came out. And also the winner of the Octo Elimination Tournament 2024. That is indeed kind of missing on his track record. I should definitely add that. But yeah, he did indeed win that. And in 2023, he got 5th. So pretty dang impressive track record, which will make it kind of scary to face him, to be completely honest. But anyone from this pod was scary, so it had to be someone. Now we can actually take another look at the groups. They are basically, as discussed already, Handelskas and Skillet in Group A, Beaver and Pecan in the potential Group of Death B. Then we have Portal and Samot in Group C, which is going to be very interesting to see. And then me and iMake and me in Group D. But, of course, we're not at all done. We have 3 more pots to draw from. So let's take a look at seeding pot 3, where we have Katashi coming in seed 9, Dino in seed 10, Flo, I know that's gonna be a bit of a shock for everyone, in only seed 11, but to be fair, he also didn't play too many seeding matches, and yeah, we'll see. It's gonna be rough whoever gets him in the group. And then Jamie with a very good 12th place, which is a big improvement from his last year's performance. So, I am very curious about this draw, because, well, Flo is obviously scary against anyone, and I know Portal and Kitashi want a rematch, so it would be nice to draw them into Group C, but I guess we'll see what's gonna happen. I'm glad the music supports the drama behind this group, because it's actually a pretty scary one. Let's see who is gonna be in Group A. So he's gonna be joining Handelskas and Skillet in that group. We have liftoff for this draw. And we start off Group A. Oh, that's scarily close to Flo. At least he didn't make it into Group B, because that would have been indeed like one hell of a group of death. But he does make it into Group A, joining Handelskas and Skillet, which is poor. That's gonna make for some good matches, I have to admit. That makes for some very exciting matches. And I mean, you all know Flo. We can look at his accomplishments. It's a lot, I think is fair to say. He's even having a really good stat record in bingo as well. Got pretty far in some of the tournaments. Never quite won it, but I believe he got into 3rd and 2nd in previous tournaments, which is pretty impressive. But yeah, I mean, it's Flo. He won a lot of tournaments, he got a lot of world records. He's fast, and his average time is a little bit deceiving. So it's gonna be a rough group, I think is fair to say. Speaking of a rough group, we have our, sort of group of death. So let's see who's unlucky enough to join Beaver and Pecan, which whoever that is gonna definitely have 2 very rough opponents. So I am very curious about that. And it is gonna be Dino. Okay. So there's still hope for the Katashi Portal rematch, actually. That is quite the draw for Dino, I have to say. Definitely not gonna be easy, But I would also say, if I do dare to say so, that he is a person that has improved a ton since the last tournament. And I think the seeding supported that, and also like the runs he's done on stream. Also, on top of it, 3 people advanced from each group, so it's all good regardless. But let's take a look at Dino, because he also has quite a few accomplishments under his belt in his almost 4 years of speedrunning now for HP games. In bingo tournaments, didn't always go great for him, but again, I think greatly improved since then. But in other tournaments, like the Glitches B tourney, he got 3rd, which was not an easy one to play in, to be honest. So definitely cannot be underestimated in tournaments, and I think, honestly, that he can make something work here. But I'm very curious, is it gonna be Katashi Portal rematch, or is it gonna be Jamie in that group? I'm very curious. This is for Group C, joining Portal and Samot. And this could be, if Katashi comes into this, I think that would be one hell of a tough group as well. So we might have to change our pick for the group of death. But first we have to see what actually happens, of course. While the wheel is spinning round and round, we'll find out very soon what awaits both of them, or who awaits both of them rather. And it is Jamie! Oh, that is Portal and Katashi are both gonna hate that they didn't get to play each other. But that makes Jamie join Group C, which is interesting. Definitely not an easy group for him as well, to be honest, with both Portal and Samot. But again, the top 3 advances, so again, you don't have to beat everyone. Jamie's someone who always mentions how much he hates bingo, but then takes part anyways, again, every year, which I appreciate. Hasn't had the greatest track record with it yet, but I think he's also looking as strong as never before in this year. According to the seeding, definitely giant improvements for him. So I'm very curious to see that in a lockout bingo. And I think he can do some damage, honestly. Yeah, and this year he actually signed up by himself. He didn't just have to join because we didn't have enough players. So yeah, also long-time HP2 speedrunner at this point. Should be very interesting to see in the tournament. And then we have, last but not least, Katashi. Oh, we have the German battle at least, Katashi. Joining me and IMEC in Group D, which is honestly kind of scary as well. That's shaping to be a bit of a rough group as well, I have to admit. I believe like those 3 people that the draw landed on so far have faced each other before in bingo tournaments. I'm pretty sure I've played both Katashi and IMEC, and I'm pretty sure IMEC and Katashi have played as well. And I think they've always been pretty even matchups. So I feel like anything can happen in that group, like we always say, in bingo, of course. Yeah, all groups really are looking scary so far. But yeah, Katashi is our last runner from this pot, joining Group D. He's also obviously a long-time veteran at this point, since 2020, which is a long time. And he is a lot better at lockout bingo than triple bingo, and, well, triple bingo is what you need for the seeding. So you got seed 9 with that, but in the actual tournament he's always incredibly scary, if I dare to say so, and got 3rd place 2 years in a row in both of the last 2 bingo tournaments, which, yeah, I guess that speaks for crazy consistency. If that doesn't speak for consistency, then I don't know what does. And I guess it's time, since now we're through another pot again, we can take another look at the groups. Yeah, this year's podium is going to be different, since unfortunately Luzak won't be able to play. We have our groups, Group A so far, Handels, Cas, Flo and Skillet. Then we have in Group B, Beaver, Beakine and Dino. In Group C, Portal, Samot, Jamie, and then myself, IMEC and Katashi in Group D. Honestly, I'm scared so far, I have to be completely honest. That is not an easy group. But I guess it's not an easy group for anyone. A lot of scary people this year, a lot of people that are very, very strong. Even as far as Pot 4, which still has very, very accomplished and like OG Harry Potter players in them at this point. We have Monster in seed 13, Pax in seed 14, Mantis in 15, and Miney in 16, who I know was very proud to be in the seeding pot 4, and honestly big improvement as well. But yeah, Pax, Monster, and Miney were all in bingo tournaments before. So again, we have some veterans on our, you know, on the horizon here. I don't know how to say it. And then Mantis is in here for the first time, but I think it's fair to say that he's definitely prepared. Guess we have to spin the wheel, and we have to see who's gonna join in Group A with Handels, Cass, Flo, and Skillet, which I don't know if anyone wants to go in there, because it seems like a pretty difficult group so far. But at least it's the group you have one extra match in, so I guess there's that. And it looks like it may be the newcomer of this tournament. It is Mantis. Oof, and that is a bit of a rough draw. But you know, at least you can definitely show that you are prepared, which I do believe in. I love the profile picture, by the way. I've noticed that when I made this thingy. But yeah, Mantis in seed 15 and now in Group A with Flo, Handel, Skillet, and Cass. Definitely not like the easiest draw of all time in your first bingo tournament appearance, and also being relatively new to the game. But again, I fully believe that you can pull something off, or that Mantis can pull something off, and we'll see how it goes. And let's see who's gonna join Group B, who's gonna join Pecan, and also Beaver, and Dino as well, of course. Very strong group too. So I'm very curious who gets drawn into this. It is a bit of a rough one, so I don't know if either of the three wants to be in there, but someone has to be. Oh, and it looks like it's Monster, who is the strongest seed of this group as well. Like the highest seeded of pot 4, which adds some extra excitement to this group, I guess is fair to say. This really is gonna have some exciting matches. Oi. That is some rough draws so far. Monster has paused last year for the tournament, but he has been in the very first bingo tournament that we've done. So I believe he's paused 2 years in a row actually, but he's been in the very first one, where it didn't go like super great for him, but to be fair, it's been a long time since then. He's very accomplished in HP2, he's been running the game for a while, so absolutely I have no doubts that he can perform quite well and definitely fight for survival in this group. But we have 2 more groups to draw, or two more people to draw from this pot. But we have joining Group C, joining Portal, Samut, Jamie. So yeah, we're gonna have the British matchup, or is it gonna be Pax instead? It looks like it might be the all-English matchup with Miney. That is actually exciting, which is funnily enough, I think those 2 people were in the same group last year as well. So that means there's 2 British in Group C and 3 Germans in Group D, which is interesting RNG, I guess. Let's take a look at Miney's track record in bingos, because you know, they've been playing for quite a while as well now, since 2022 with HP2 PC at least. I think in general longer with speedrunning. Yeah, last bingo tournament, sadly not able to pick up a win, but I'm almost certain that is gonna change this year for this year's tournament. And I believe that there's a very good chance to actually make it out of groups this year for Miney. Very strong improvement in the seeding. Definitely not to be underestimated this year. But yeah, well, we have Pax remaining for the triple German matchup in the last group, in Group D for Deutschland. Who is also at this point, I mean, sort of a bingo veteran. Is sort of fair to say, I think, because he has been in last year's tournament, and he did do pretty well, I believe, so we'll take a look at that right now, of course. I mean, you know, a 1 to 3 is not a terrible score. At least he picked up a win, and again, this year I also think very strongly improved. Also not new to tournaments at all. 5th in the Glitchless B tournament this year, and with some very nice matches in that as well. So tournament nerves are probably not gonna get to him at all. That was an exciting pot. We have one left remaining, of course, but before we go to that, the mandatory showing the actual groups, of course, because slowly but surely they are actually shaping up to be quite exciting. We have Handelscast, Flow, Mantis, and Skillet in the first one. We have Group B with Beaver, Pika, and Dino and Monster, which... phew. Then we have Portal, Samut, Jamie, and Miney, the battle of the British in there. And then we have the 3 Germans and 1 IMEC group in Group D. But, as I said, that's not all, because we have 20 runners this year, 21 even. So we have a 5th seeding pot, which gives us another German, by the way. I mean, at least that's what Coney uses on speedrun.com, so I went with it. And then also more British people, so, you know, those groups can still be continued. But I guess we'll see how this goes. But yeah, we have a lot of bingo newcomers. This entire pot is, I believe, filled with people that haven't played in a tournament before, at least. I'm for some reason not sure about Vlad anymore, but I believe he didn't yet. But we have Coney, Vlad, Matthew, and Scherf. And yeah, again, all very new to HP2 Bingo. Scherf even, I believe, very new to the entire HP speedrunning thing, so big shoutouts already being bold enough to take part in such a tournament, really. But let's see who is gonna be in which group. I am very, very curious. And let's spin the wheel one last time for Group A. Whoever is gonna join this group is definitely not gonna have it easy with Handelscast, Flow, Mantis, and Skillet. But it is, you know, it has to happen. Nah, it's gonna be fun, and that's what matters. And it looks to be Matthew, which is kind of cool, to be honest, because he's a seasoned HP runner, like one of the, you know, he's been doing this for quite a while. And I know he's practiced a lot with Flow in several different categories. So it's kind of fun that they actually meet each other and face each other in this tournament. I'm excited for this group. I'm very excited for this group. But let's take a look, of course, at Matthew through the years, of course. It's going to be very fun to see him in Bingo. We've seen him in a lot of other tournaments before, and in general doing some cool stuff like, you know, Octafactors, Hundo Octafactors, a lot of different runs, and he's usually placing very well in them. So if he takes Bingo serious and he practices a good bit, then I think he can definitely make something work in this group. But yeah, runner since 2021 already, so a lot of HP2 experience. Even though, obviously, seeding time not the absolute greatest yet, and it's his first appearance, I wouldn't count him out at all. But let's see who is gonna be in Group B, which is the one with Beaver, Pika, and Dino and Monster, just as a reminder, which, again, is gonna have a couple of pretty tough matches. I'm not even sure, like, which group I would want to be in now, if I would be one of those 3 people. But it seems like we do not have the quadruple German group, because Coney is gonna be in this group. Joining Pika, joining Beaver, Dino, and Monster. That is the highest seed out of this pot as well. So this group has officially gotten 4 out of 5 people being the highest seed. Oh my god, that's insane. Out of their respective pots. That is absolutely insane. That is that's a bit of an 07 for anyone involved. That's definitely gonna cause some pretty rough matches. But I'm excited for it, you know? It's gonna be enjoyable. And I think it's fair to call that the group of death. I mean, it doesn't get much more stacked than this. But yeah, Coney is a very interesting runner, I think is fair to say, because he is very new to Bingo. I think basically just picked up practicing during the first seeding weekend. So of course, only in the last pot. But he's very good at HP2 in general, and of course our resident low-cast expert, which is also where the category extension HP2 records are coming from. So I am honestly curious where he can bring this. Again, very, very interesting runner with a big track record with HP2's world records. So I think there's a lot of potential here. But we have 2 people remaining, Vlad and Scherf. And who is gonna join Portal, Simode, Jamie and Miney? I mean, it could be another British. It could make it 3 in this group. Or it is Vlad, which makes it 2 Bulgarians. Either way, we have some country versus country matchups. And it does look to be... Oh god, it's so close. It's Scherf, which makes it 3 British, which makes this group very interesting, I feel like. But it also guarantees that one of them actually makes it out. So that's kind of cool. Also, I guess that leaves Vlad for Group D, which is another scary one. There's only scary people in this, though, I gotta say. But yeah, let's take a look at Scherf, of course, who, as I said, basically started speedrunning, you know, for this tournament. I don't know if that's fair to say. But started not too long ago and started practicing for bingo. But to be honest, even though it is the last seed out of the pots, second to last in general, this is still not a bad time at all. Like, this is not a bad triple bingo time in the slightest. So definitely gonna be interesting to see his matches. And yeah, we'll see how he's gonna do. I'm very curious, and I believe in some pretty good races and some pretty good runs. And of course, just so we have them all, we're gonna spin the wheel for Vlad, making it into Group D. And to be honest, I have to admit, I am a bit terrified by my group. Why is that so difficult? I thought in pot 1, you know, it would be a decently easy group, but yeah, I'm a bit scared. But you know, we'll see what happens. It's definitely gonna be interesting. And, well, let's take a look at Vlad as well. Yeah, it's going to be a lot of very hard to bet on groups, honestly. A lot of very close ones. But yeah, also seasoned HP2 runner since 2022, so he has a couple of years under his belt. He did play in the bingo tournament before as well. I was wrong. Just not last year, but in the 22 edition, sorry. I don't know years. Didn't go incredibly well for him, but that doesn't mean it can't be better now. Vlad is very strong at games. He has a couple of HP1 world records in high jump, has a lot of really good HP2 times, so I feel like very big dark horse and anything can happen. I know, it's the ancient old phrase, but really true in his case. So yeah, there we go. That's our draw. That's basically all there is to it. We have our groups, and I am actually happy with how this turned out. I am incredibly excited. We'll go through them again real quick. We have, of course, Handels, the group leader of Group A, followed by Cass, Flo, Mantis, Matthew, and Skillet, the biggest group we have, the 6-people group. I'm curious. I'm very curious to see what's gonna happen in this group. I have a feeling that it's gonna be an all-out battle for making it out of this group. And I couldn't even tell you who I would favor to make it out. We can look at Group B, which is not much better. It's going to be a really close and exciting one as well, with Beaver, Pecan, Dino, Monster, and Coney. I do obviously not want to leave out Skillet, just because he wasn't in any of the pots. He still absolutely deserves his introduction, because even though he's seed 21, I don't think we can count him out either. It's maybe his first bingo appearance, but he has been in a bunch of tournaments, so he's quite seasoned when it comes to that. A bunch of HP2 as well, participated in Glitchless B, and I am sure that he's gonna do a pretty good job in this tournament as well, despite the seeding time not being the fastest. But I'm very curious what he can do in this arguably pretty tough group. But yeah, once again, Group B, we've taken a look at it. Dino was in despair in chat, kind of understandable. Group of death, first seats in the pots all around, horrible. I'm very sorry for everyone I drew in here, but good luck, guys. It's gonna be very, very interesting. This one as well, Portal, Simo, Jamie, Miney, and Scherf. Couldn't tell you who makes it out, legitimately. I mean, obviously, the seats give us some favorites, but I feel like anything can really happen in this, especially since 3 people get out of this. And then, of course, in Group D, the one that I have the misfortune to be the group leader in, I also don't know. I honestly don't even know if I can make it out of this group because I'm terrified of all 4 of them. We have Imek, Kitashi, Pax, and Vlad joining me. I am very excited about this. But for now, that's gonna be it from me. Thank you so much for joining me during this draw. I really hope you had a good time. I certainly did. That was very exciting. If the tournament is only half of what those matches promise, then I think it's gonna be pretty good. And I am so looking forward to it. That was a good draw though. I'm happy with how it turned out.